My hair is natural now, and even when it rains, I'll cover my hair just because I want to cover it, and sometimes just for fun, I wear wigs. Chapter 4: Hot and Dry Seasons. I'm listening to Jonathan's song, Katonti, and for some reason it took me back to the weather in Nigeria. We have a dry season and a wet season. The dry season is very hot and dry, and wet season is 6 months of rain and humidity. And I remember during the 1980s, I, my siblings, my dad, and his relatives lived in Lagos in a town called Okoko. I believe we were still in the city of Lagos, and we lived in the area called Okoko. It had rained heavily the previous night. I remember seeing frogs at times in our home. The next day, I remember watching from one end of the compound to the place we were at. We lived in a duplex building, and I remember my neighbor upstairs had a daughter. She was so happy and joyful. One time she did my hair. She braided my hair with long hair attachments. I remember the ordeal took a long time, but she enjoyed it every step of the way. She's so happy, so joyful and pleasant. She was so happy and so joyful and pleasant to be around. At the tender age of 5, I hadn't seen anyone as joyful as she had been. She was kind to me, just like my siblings Joshua and Princess, that told me they had a teacher who was really nice and kind. I wanted to see for myself, and do remember when I came into her presence, there was a serenity, peace, and a calmness around her. Now that I reflect on her behavior, I know God was present in her life, and it showed in her character, her behavior. Kids know when a person is nice to them, so my siblings Joshua and Princess always made it an effort to be in that teacher's company after school whenever they got a chance to. Going back to my neighbor's daughter, sometimes when you're around people that are happy and joyful, they are so pleasant to be around. It's a lot it's a lot different than growing up around people that were going through different things. Like I said, we had neighbors who lived upstairs, and a girl really liked children and really liked me and did my hair. I remember they lived on the second floor. I and my family. Um, I and my family lived on the first floor. After living in Okoko, we had lived in another part of Lagos called Siemens. I remember a building project was going on as we were leaving Okoko, and what I remember now was my siblings wanted to accompany my aunt and I to do errands, but we had to do them, but we had to go. But she didn't allow them to come. She blocked the gate from opening in an effort for them not to come out. But sometime that day, someone had opened that gate, and my siblings had been playing a game. In this game they had created, they would cross the street when they would see a car pass by. Sometimes the driver would stop for them to cross the street and drive by, so they would cross back to our side of the gate. So that was their form of entertainment. On that dusty road, it was slow. A car would pass by every hour or so. So this is not an idea for kids to copy. I'm just telling you what happened in an area that didn't have pavements, road projects going on. It was just a dusty road, but amazingly cars would go through that area. I remember my aunts would have a habit of making fufu and soup with fish and leave the bones inside. My 2-year-old sibling, Commander, would eat with Dad, and a fish bone would be stuck in his throat. He would be rushed on foot to a doctor by my dad and my 2 aunts. These were reoccurring episodes of him getting a fish bone stuck in his throat, and my family rushing to take him to the doctor. I remember Commander would get his hand stuck in the railing, and he would ask for help to get himself out of the ordeal, and do it all over again, and ask for help to get his stuck head and head out of the railing.